The end of My Hero Academia. Wow, honestly, I did not expect this in 2021. I thought for the most part we would be entering a different stage. I thought things would be shaken up. I didn't expect for this outcome to come about with My Hero Academia chapter 306, between the announcement that the Academia portion is wrapping itself up. Deku is homeless. Yo fam, no shade or anything like that. We're talking about a comic book here at the end of the day, a manga. But wow, to talk about, 2021, did anybody expect like, yo fam, in 2021, Deku from My Hero Academia is not gonna have nowhere to go, fam? Like, Nani Sore? Very, very big chapter, My Hero Academia. A lot of people reporting as well, big news sites that, yo, My Hero Academia enters its final arc with the name of this chapter, basically indicating that My Hero Academia is wrapping up. Now again, we don't know for sure if it's wrapping up just the Academia portion, just this part of the story, and it's going to enter a time skip, or it's going to all wrap up all together. So yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. Without further ado, people, let's jump into a little bit of that My Hero Academia great news. Let's do it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, for starters, I just gotta point out that the cover page for chapter 306 of Deku and Shigaraki, with Deku holding the TV screen of All for One and Shigaraki holding the TV screen of All Might, that shit slapped. I was like, holy cow, this looks awesome, and we're starting a very impactful chapter in a major way with both of these iconic characters holding each of the TV screens up. And yeah, it feels as though it's signaling big plays, big plays in the future of the My Hero Academia. As uncertain as it may be, it's definitely at a changing crossroads. Now, to be honest with you, as crazy as the ending of the chapter is and the direction of the series, a lot of this chapter for the most part was a press conference. It was basically Endeavor, Best Jeanist, Hawks facing the media, honestly going head to head with the media and saying their side of things. And I was blown away, to be honest with you, at the amount of honesty. I think it's a good thing to a certain degree. I would have went with a different strategy, but at the end of the day, if they're going to be pure heroes, if they're going to be the type of heroes that, like Stain, for example, would have, championed behind, would have rallied behind, would have supported, would have said, no, they're pure, then yeah, they need to go down this route of honesty. Because as impactful in a negative fashion as it may be towards the heroes and whatnot, they're being very transparent, they're being very genuine, and they're being people that, in hindsight, once all of this blows over and we get to the root of it, are trustworthy people that the people are going to look at and say, you know what, maybe they screwed up, maybe they weren't perfect, but at the very least we could trust that they kept it real with us, even though, take them getting caught and Dobby putting them on blast. But hey, because Hawks and Best Jeanist approach All Might in the beginning of the chapter as he's done weeping, like, oh me sweet little Deku, what's going on, mate? Because they want to know about One for All and why Shigaraki in particular, as well as All for One, were targeting Deku. What is going on here? What is this all about? And pretty much it seems as though the secret of One for All, like, ain't so secret anymore, especially with this chapter. How many people figured out and found out what the heck is going on between All Might saying, you know what, we're too late in the game, I'm gonna just tell them everything. And then later on what Deku does, a lot of people now are gonna be clued in on One for All, which to a certain degree, as long as it's not to the public, I think it's okay. As long as it's to trusted people. Like, let's be real, Class 1A, you're gonna have to kill these kids in order for them to spill the secrets. Likewise with a lot of these trusted heroes, like a Hawks, like a Best Jeanist, Endeavor to a certain degree, even though he's an asshole, but like, you could trust these people. And when the principal was on the phone talking about cooperating with the government, was he referring to in terms of like bringing in the heroes from around the world to come in and help out? I was a little bit skeptical on exactly what he was talking about. Or was he just saying cooperating with the government in terms of what happens later on in the chapter with them abolishing the Academia? I'm imagining it's more so about that, of them basically saying, okay, I'm the principal, but schools is done with. Because we get a 3-day time skip after that, and basically the press conference begins, which I ain't gonna lie, this is one of the most intense press conferences ever, because you think about it, these are, the moral high grounds of society that are being accused of some harsh and very disturbing things based on, what Dobby put out to the media back, quite a few chapters ago at this particular point now, of Endeavor being a horrible man, just everything that he put out there. Now they gotta face it. And I ain't gonna lie, I was really shocked when Endeavor went up to the podium and said, yo, everything the man said is true. I was like, What? I genuinely thought, and if you've been following my reviews, you will know, I genuinely thought that him and Hawks was going to come up with some sort of concoction to basically try and minimize things. Like, they were going to try and say, like, hey, this is that, or come up with a story or something like that. The fact that he straight up went to the podium and said, no, I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of horrible things. I was a terrible guy. Blows my mind because, again, like I said earlier, on one hand, it gives a certain sense of transparency of, like, oh shit, he's actually being genuine, because you would expect for the heroes to come in and have a story, have excuses, do the whole damage control thing, but he actually manned up and straight up said, yeah, I did it. And I ain't gonna lie, when that one dude, because you know we get the reactions of the people and whatnot, when that one dude with the glasses was like, it's all over for him now, that was kind of me. I was kind of like, yes, people, this is it for Endeavor. Even Hawks coming through and saying, yeah, it was true about me as well. Unfortunately, I killed twice. I felt like I had no choice, and the stuff with my father was true as well. I'm shocked because, again, Hawk said something along the lines of, and it was about, what, maybe 3 or 4 chapters ago now, that he was going to try and save Endeavor and help him out in this whole situation with the public. How was that helping him out? Both of y'all coming and just straight up saying, yeah, we were pieces of shit at a public that, you know, it's mirroring to a certain degree the real world, where it's like cancel culture, because then shortly after, one of the reporters says, yo, my parents were, I think she said my mom, my grandma, something along the lines of that, was injured badly. What the hell do you coming in and saying, yeah, I was a piece of shit? What is that gonna do? And just seeing the realness of Endeavor saying, well, yo, seeing my pain and my tears and my frustration, is that gonna help fix things? You know what I'm saying? Is that gonna do something for you? I like that, because it felt very real. It felt like a real take on somebody facing essentially the media and, I don't know, I want to say cancel culture. And then they come up with the announcement that from today forward, all of the schools are going to be transferred into, instead of being schools, basically like emergency bunker shelters where everybody is going to be brought in, because society is an absolute complete mess. Everywhere you go, there's just villains lurking the streets, the people being vigilantes, and they're horrible at it. So yeah, this is basically signifying the end of the academia, which, again, it would make sense. And I feel as though, to a certain degree, and especially we got that movie coming up as well, it feels like it is saying that it is the end of the academia, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end of this story and the end of this franchise. I feel like there's so much more to go. So I don't know if they're just playing it up and making it feel like the whole story is going to end right now soon, because the way they're, you know, putting titles and things like that, or again, it's just going to be the end of the academia, because that would make sense. Also, it would make sense for a certain part of the My Hero Academia fandom that has never been a fan of the academic portion of, like, you know, the school stuff, the plays and things like that, for them to say, you know what, those people, and they're the vast majority of the fandom that don't care about any of that other stuff, let's just do away with it at this point, because the story calls for it anyway, and move on. Which I'll be honest with you, while I did enjoy some of the academic stuff, like the sports festival was awesome, I'm not boo-hooing about moving on from the academia portion, especially, again, considering the story calls for it, with society being in absolute chaos. And man, that art, the shot in particular of Endeavor with the suit, his face, you know, he activates his flames, and he's like, yo, direct all your hate at me right now, direct every anger you have, but I'm gonna make sure I put it down. And then Dobby's punk ass saying, oh, I didn't go far enough. You did everything you could, fam. Don't get mad because your attempt at taking shit down didn't work, because at the end of the day, that's really dope, and I like that to a certain degree, that yeah, there's gonna be people that are gonna be mad, and probably a good chunk of the public are going to still attempt to say, yo, screw Endeavor, we can't trust these people. So right now, like I think it's even said in the chapter, they're not only facing against villains in the streets, they're facing against society, because now, especially with them admitting it, people are going to be looking at them, and they lost a lot of even more trust. Like, if they would have come in and lie, to a certain degree, it would have benefited them, but I think in the long haul, it's going to make much more sense, because now the public are going to be like, well, at least we could trust them, at least they kept it real and didn't continue to bury the lies. Except the whole thing of when they asked about One for All, and Endeavor said, I don't know, maybe he doesn't know, maybe he was the one that didn't get filled in, it was only Best Jeanist and Hawks, so that wouldn't technically be a lie, but why would they hide One for All from Endeavor, unless, again, I mean, his own mental traumas at this point, because he got so many other things on his mind. Like, if he knew that All Might essentially had just this borrowed power, it would make an even worse toll on his mindset of, I was basically trying to fight this passed down power, you know, surpass this at this particular point. Like, it really would shit on him, but who knows, maybe he did know, I don't know. And then the end of an era, fam. Everybody gets a letter from Deku, And yeah, it's damn, because in the letter he basically reveals to everyone what has been going on, how he got One for All, how he got his powers, why Shigaraki and All for One are after him, and basically him saying, I'm leaving the school, I'm going off on my own, I got some shit to do, they're after me, I'm the reason they're, you know, hunting people down to begin with, so I gotta go. And I did feel like it was, to a small degree, pushing forth the ship of Uraraka x Deku, which I don't see that ship not happening at the end of it, because, you know, she's there like in near tears saying, you dummy, so you could tell that she was hurt by it, which they've always had a sweet little innocent romance. Like, I don't expect any other pairing other than Deku x Uraraka anyways, but that was a sad moment for the both of them. And then it says April, the final act begins, and we get that epic, iconic Batman-esque shot of Deku standing on the tower-esque building and whatnot, just staring down at the city, and the symbolism of where we started the series to where we're at right now. Because in the beginning of the series, there was a shot where he says happily, like, oh shit, a giant villain, and then now he says a giant villain, but it's different because back then, you know, society was tamed under control, under the watchful eye of All Might. We didn't have all these problems. Now, the entire city is in complete and utter chaos, which makes for a great and interesting story. And also, if the one that none of us expected, Deku becoming a vigilante of sorts, that's insane. And basically, Deku has left the academy and is homeless, but wow, honestly, this is how you shake up a story. I feel as though Horikoshi, and I know this is going off and probably people are going to disagree, and if you disagree, fine, but I feel as though he's seen some of his peers in Shonen Jump and seen how a lot of things, you can go darker, you can go as dark as you want, to a degree, obviously, you can't completely go off the rails and whatnot, but you can go darker and still succeed. And I think that he's been for a while now, a couple of years, flirting with it ever since My Villain Academia, and now he's just said, screw it, we're going all in, we're abandoning the happy campy My Hero Academia portion of the story and going into some really dark shit, and I am all on board. Deku on his own against an entire city of chaos, I am here for it. Sign me up right now. I just hope that this isn't the complete and the final arc of the entirety of the story, and if it is the final arc, maybe, you know, 1 or 2 more chapters to wrap things up, and let's head into a time skip of the entire time Deku has been training, essentially by being a vigilante through the streets, and we cut back. Like, that sounds so much better. Like, early on in My Hero Academia story, I always thought Todoroki or Bakugo, especially Todoroki before he really came full circle with his whole family arc and things like that, I always thought Todoroki would have become a vigilante. I always thought it would have been him to be like, oh, on his own in the streets, and then, you know, a time skip happens or something. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that we would go down the same route, but with Deku, and that is awesome, very powerful. I would love if we were going to a time skip and not wrapping things up, for it to go in this direction of Deku getting all this experience by himself. This is insane. But I'm very curious what you guys think about the story and the direction of My Hero Academia moving forward. How do you feel about the end of the academia portion? Schools basically being turned into shelters, emergency shelters. What do you think about everyone's reaction to Deku admitting, like, now a lot of people know about One for All, Heroes, Class 1A. Do you think that this is going to be the end of My Hero Academia as a whole, or just the school portion? Do you think we're still going to get a time skip, or where do you think we're going with all of this right now? I don't know. Like, your overall thoughts and expectations for My Hero Academia chapter 307 and beyond. This is looking really hype, and a whole different tone than this story has had up until this point. Shit is getting even darker, and again, I'm here for it, baby. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications, and if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day, peace in, and yo, Deku's homeless, man. Shit is crazy. Have an awesome one. What I know, so